If you're anything like me, then Disney films played an important role in your childhood. Stacked with a filmography filled with timeless classics of not just animation but cinema as a whole, it's a studio with profound and prolific growth over the last 101 years of its existence. Growing up in a Disney household, we had an extensive collection of Disney DVDs that me and my siblings would turn on, with definitive repeat classics chosen among all of them. These movies weren't just entertainment, they were the backbone of my childhood experience. Back in my earlier years, animation wasn't viewed with the same intensity as it is nowadays, where people are slowly beginning to wake up to the realization that animation is a profound and moving film medium. Within the early 2000s, it was very much still seen as a quote-unquote genre in which the mindless entertainment needed to captivate kids' short attention spans for the under 2-hour runtimes was the top priority at most of the major animation studios. Disney, however, stood apart from this. Not only were their films unique and visually stunning, but they offered a deeper thematic and personal touch that made me realize at an early age how profound film could be as an art form. These movies didn't just entertain me, they made me fall in love with film as a whole. You can imagine then that one of the challenges for a studio as prolific as Disney is how to keep their filmography fresh and innovative for changing tastes. This generation of kids is hyper, for lack of a better word, and as a result, Disney has had to shift their priorities within the last few years, which has resulted in a dip in quality over their last several films. Gone are the days in which profound storytelling was the focus of their entertainment. With their post-pandemic films thus far, Disney has fallen into a trap of self-parody in which the focus on world building over plot and adding eccentric comedic relief characters that don't add to the substance of the film overall has taken priority. Watching their output over the last few years from a critical lens, it's become disheartening to see a studio once so full of artistic intent and love fall slowly out of fashion in such a way. It always made me reflect upon the power their older films had to inspire me as an artist, and it made me sad that out there might be another kid just like me who was looking for that spark to ignite his creativity but would never find it amid the formulaic and often generic films they would grow up watching. Approaching Moana 2, I didn't have many expectations about originality. As it stands, sequels often feel stagnant and repetitive, with nothing new to offer to audiences. I was worried heading into this one that it would fall into the same trap. Walking out, however, I realized that not only was Moana 2 anything but a formulaic sequel, but as it stands, it was a shining return to form to the peak days of the studio. It's a movie just like Disney would have released in pre-pandemic days, in which the thematic and emotional content takes a shift in focus, and the plotline is well developed and moving from a cinematic standpoint. In short, it's everything that Disney used to focus on within their films, brought back to a mainstream focus. Disney is indeed back as a studio, which is such a relief of a sentence to be able to say here. Now granted, just because I say Moana 2 is a return to form does not mean I say it's a great movie overall. It's very good, but it also falls short of joining the ranks of past classic Disney fare. As a film that looks and feels like a pre-pandemic Disney film, however, it's serviceable and indicates a step forward towards the innovative and moving storytelling that the studio is known for. Moana 2 picks up shortly after the events of the first film and follows the titular character played by Ali Carvalho, who has taken up her status as a wayfinder and seeks to reunite the peoples scattered throughout the sea. Challenged by a new antagonistic force that seeks to cause further separation in the isolation of these peoples, Moana must work together with a demigod Maui and some new crew members to restore peace to the ocean. The interesting factor about the film is that the plotline itself is exactly like the first film, except it brings the plot forward in a way in which it feels different enough and vibrant enough to stand apart on its own. Yes, the main setup is the same as the first film. Strong-willed Moana must go out from her people to save the ocean, but there are many surprises and twists along the way here that make this overall a satisfying enough entry to stand apart on its own. It serves a definitive purpose alongside the first film, which is to deliver a conclusion of Moana's story that is satisfying to both the characters within the film, but also the audience. Ali Carvalho continues to deliver such an energetic and playful performance as Moana, much like she does with the first. She's able to instill a vibrant and youthful energy while also commanding a more serious and intense tone, much like the growth of her character within the film. Dwayne Johnson's vocal performance as Maui is just as charming as it was in the first, even if the same old routine here feels somewhat stale in portions. The animation itself is visually stunning, showcasing a range of depth from the smallest grain of sand to the biggest wave towering on the big screen. As always, Disney's stellar lighting effects showcase the true visual mastery here within the animated medium, transforming what would otherwise be the plainest looking scenes into striking images that stick with you long after the credits roll. The songwriting here cannot hold a candle to the first, even if it tried, but there are several musical number standouts here that strike a perfect balance between memorable enough yet not overbearingly obnoxious, even if they don't overall leave an impact like the first film. The story itself is infused with the same emotional and thematic undercurrent that the studio is known for in days of old. The character relationships and arcs throughout the film serve a key purpose in driving the plot forward, and there are several moments of emotional poignancy and maturity throughout that showcase a night and day difference between the same attempts at thematic material from their last few films. Overall, it's a film that strikes a careful balance between fun and grounded. Granted, that isn't to say Moana 2 is an amazing movie. While very good overall, it does feel somewhat limited in terms of scope. The grandiose atmosphere of the first film was full of an adventurous air in which audiences were perched right there alongside the character of Moana and wanting to seek out what she was looking for. Here, the audience generally takes a backseat to most of the action, which makes it feel more passive and observant overall. The same qualms I had about the usage of animal sidekick relief within the first film applies here, as the inclusion of the chicken character Hey Hey to provide cheap comedic relief within moments of peril diminishes some of the maturity that it has going for it in portions. While consistently entertaining, entertaining, it also feels limited in what it achieves at the end of the day. While the result is quite passable and definitely indicates the same passion and love put into other Disney films, it also would have been intriguing to see the filmmakers push the story in a direction that doesn't feel like a redux of the first film at times. The antagonist is an interesting setup and concept here, so the film's inability to focus and highlight more of this character and their motives steps down the stakes considerably and leaves audiences wanting more on this front. While Moana 2 is not without its problems overall, the difference in quality between this and Disney's other recent output is too vast to simply ignore. I walked out of the film entertained, refreshed, and overall inspired. It was such a joy to see a film from the studio that showcases real love and passion behind it that was otherwise missing from their other films. For this reason, Moana 2 succeeds in not only being an entertaining sequel, but also remains solid enough to warrant its existence overall. Granted, you walk in with expectations diminished slightly and with the right mindset. That's why I'm giving Moana 2 a 3 out of 5 stars. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this review on my channel. If you're new around here and you like the content you see, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below, like the video, and turn on push notifications. Also, leave comment suggestions down below for future video, essay, and review topics. With that being said, until next time, this is Mitchell signing off. Peace out.